Our story begins with Sato, the lonely and depressed high school student who had grown weary of the life he was living. He thought to himself, how I wish to end this daily routine, for this world to perish and be replaced by another. He longed for a heroic act to occur in his life to escape it. But he stops talking to himself when he hears the sound of rain falling. He immediately headed to the library to retrieve his umbrella and then go home, only to remember that he hadn't actually gotten an umbrella in the first place. He muttered to himself, curse this bad luck, I'll be doomed forever, as if imagining fate would make him wait until the rain stopped. Every time he stood waiting for the rain to lighten. At that moment, a famous schoolgirl named Inokia entered, followed by a young man named Ryo, who said to him, what brought you here? Everyone has left, and you're still here alone. Sato then told them his problem, saying, I don't have an umbrella, so I couldn't leave. I'm waiting here for the rain to calm down before I go. Therefore, he had a spare umbrella handed to him by Inokia, who said, come on, my friend, let's go together. And so the three of them left the school together, chatting along the way. Sato was amazed, saying, how is it that two of the most famous students in the school are talking to me with such respect, known for their success, fame, and humility? I truly wish to live like them. But suddenly, as they were walking, Ryo stopped abruptly and said, I hear the sound of extremely loud bells in my ears. Inokia also heard the same sounds, and they stood together in confusion. Sato replied, the sound of bells? But I don't hear anything. Then something unexpected happened. A magical circle began to form beneath them, transporting them suddenly away from the place entirely. A voice said to them, here is what you wished for, Sato, coming true before your eyes. When they opened their eyes again, they found themselves in a magnificent royal palace filled with soldiers, standing before the king of the land. Ryo impulsively asked, where are we? How did we get here without any warning? The king tried to calm them, saying, calm down, and I will explain everything to you. But Ryo angrily replied, we don't need to rest now. We want to know all the details precisely. At that moment, the king explained, saying, my people and I are currently under attack by the Demon King and his allies. We have repelled them with our magic, but this situation won't last long. That's why we summoned you, our heroes, to save our world. However, our heroes had differing opinions. Each of them had a different view. Ryu believed that summoning them without permission was an unforgivable crime, while Inokia was happy to be free from her previous responsibilities and felt that things had become more beautiful. As for Sato, he couldn't comprehend what was happening and stood there saying, are you the chosen ones? It's true that you selected us from among 7 billion people on this planet, so our power must be limitless. But Ryu angrily interrupted him, saying, wait a minute, let's stop this nonsense. Let's go back home. The king replied, saying, wait, my friends, entering this place is not like leaving it, and you must accomplish the mission that you came here for and destroy the Demon King first. Then Ryu became angry again, and Sato tried to calm him down, saying, my friend, look around you. You'll find the place is full of guards. If you speak or do anything they don't like, they won't spare us. It will be easy for them to kill us, as if nothing happened. Ryu understood the situation and let things proceed as smoothly as possible. The king continued, during the upcoming period you'll spend here, we will try to find a way to return you to your world. Don't worry. Time here is different from the real world. No matter how many months or years you spend, your people won't notice your absence. Then he added, you three heard the sound of the bells before arriving, didn't you? One of them asked, who are these three? Sato replied, didn't I hear anything? I entered with you by chance without hearing anything. At that moment, everyone realized that Sato had accidentally entered the magic circle with them, though it didn't matter. After that, they were taken to the magic crystal to measure each one's power. Inokia was extremely excited. Unlike the two young men who didn't understand anything, Inokia placed her hands to determine her strength, revealing that she possessed the rare thunder magic, the strongest magic in terms of attacks and rebounds. She was at the peak of her happiness as she said, hey Ryo, it's your turn now. Ryo then placed his hand and was surprised to find he possessed light magic, a magic capable of easily destroying and killing demons, as well as the ability to create weapons out of nothing. Next was Sato's turn. The young man stepped forward, and as soon as he placed his hand on the crystal, it began to glow green. The assistant was immediately astonished upon seeing this, and quickly exclaimed, hurry, this young man must be isolated in his home, and no one should know about the magic he possesses. No one understood what was happening, and then they were taken out of the place. Later, the leader of the armies, Rose, came to learn about the types of magic everyone possessed. However, they did not want to disclose Sato's magic. They told her that this young man had come by mistake, which was unacceptable, so she asked him to drop the matter and take on another task. Before leaving, Sato asked with a smile, "What does this magic mean? Does the green color indicate it's beast magic or what?" Rose was stunned when she heard the question, so she quickly rushed towards him from among the crowd and grabbed him, saying, "This young man is from here and there. I will personally make him one of my soldiers and train him in the harshness of battles." Some wondered what was going on, as the hero wasn't supposed to be the one demonstrating the ability to kill demons. However, Rose interpreted the green color as signifying healing magic, a highly useful magic for treating the wounded and of great value in upcoming battles. While some were talking about Rose and froze, it was said about her that she was terrifyingly strict, insisting on training soldiers with the harshest drills to prepare them to face demons. As for Sato, he was anxious and confused, unable to comprehend everything that was happening, and he didn't know what the future held for him. Days passed, and on the morning of the next day, Sato woke up to someone telling him that a person was waiting for him outside the house to talk. When he went out, he found Ryo and Ichika meeting him, both looking elegant and proper, in contrast to Sato, who appeared restless and bored. Later, Rose began organizing the training sessions. Smiling, she said to him, "All right, training." Then, Sato asked in surprise, "Why are you angry? Weren't you the one in prison, my dear?" She handed him a notebook to record his observations, and his first training began with reading a book. Although the language was incomprehensible at first, he managed to use translation magic to understand all its meanings. Sato continued his studies, learning about different types of demons, the effects of each type of magic on them, and the best ways to overcome them. The next day, Rose started physical training with him, encouraging him to run intensely, even though these exercises were different from the reading he had learned before. And Sato became obsessed with training, so much so that he climbed the mountain to practice until his feet were bare and his legs ached. He collapsed to the ground, unable to continue. The girl then approached him, healing him with a touch that relieved his pain. Days passed and Sato began competing with others, all of whom were stronger and faster than him, as they had trained for long periods. After 30 days, Ryo and Ichika returned to observe Sato's progress and noticed a significant change in him. His strength had increased remarkably, and he was now carrying huge stones on his back. Meanwhile, Instructor Rose kept a close eye on him, treating him sternly, and even making sarcastic remarks about his slender appearance compared to his newly acquired strength. At that time, the king arrived and asked Rose to leave Sato alone and return him to his family so he could stay with them. Rose replied, "Wait a minute, who is this Sato? He is the fiercest warrior, stronger than the other heroes." Later, the group was introduced to Sato as the leader responsible for their training. Among the team members was a new girl named Celia, the daughter of the kingdom's king. Sato began recounting the days he spent here, saying, "At first I couldn't bear the harsh atmosphere and rigorous training, but over time I got used to it and became happy among you all." At one point, Ichika approached Sato and praised his muscles, saying, "What a sturdy build." Sato blushed slightly, but Ryo interrupted, saying, "There must be a good reason we're all together, my friend. You didn't just show up here alone by chance?" Sato replied with satisfaction. Afterward, Sato went out with Rose and asked her, "Where are we heading now?" Rose replied, "We're going to the mountain. Come with me and you'll know everything." Indeed, the mountaintop where Rose said, "Go down and secure some tanks for us, then bring them here." As Sato tried to descend, he felt afraid and begged Rose not to make him do it, citing his prior knowledge of the tank's danger. But Rose insisted on giving him instructions, even going so far as to hurl the tanks far away from the entire area. At that moment, Sato was confused, praying to God to save him from this predicament. Suddenly, a giant bear appeared and began chasing Sato, who ran as fast as he could, but soon he mustered his courage and stood his ground to face the bear. Despite the bear surrounding him from all sides, Sato decided to escape towards the water. He dove in until it became difficult for the bear to reach him. After a while, Sato emerged from the water and sat under a tree to catch his breath and contemplate what would happen next. Later, Sato said to himself, "I must hunt those tanks and return as quickly as possible so I don't stay here too long." On his way to join the others, he encountered a rabbit that seemed injured, so Sato used his magic to heal it. But the rabbit clung to him and didn't want to leave, so Sato tried to separate them by saying, "I must direct this rabbit to face the predators that might eat it, so let's leave it here." However, the rabbit remained by his side, so Sato later used it to locate the tanks. The rabbit successfully led him straight to the bear's location, where he found them in a place surrounded by small beds that had no effect on them. So he left them and drank from the sea, with the rabbit still following him. As time passed and on a night of hunger, Sato's stomach began to ache severely, as his water magic couldn't help him, so he carried the rabbit to a freshwater pond. But suddenly, just as they barely reached there, the rabbit panicked and climbed up to hide at the top of the tree. It wondered in astonishment, what exactly is happening? Aren't you afraid of the bear, or are you going to fear the water? However, behind them was a huge snake, not mentioned in the book, appearing as if thirsty for blood. At that moment, the young man realized he was powerless to do anything, so he decided to ignore it and move forward. After that, Sato headed towards the bear to hunt it with the intention of killing it. But upon arrival, he was shocked. He found the corpse slaughtered and torn apart everywhere. He wondered to himself what exactly happened to them and who killed them. Could it be that Rose did this? However, that wasn't the case, as they were killed in a horrifying manner, and it seemed the snake they saw yesterday was the one responsible. Sato focused and looked at the small bear still alive, which fueled his anger and sorrow for his departed family. He declared, "I will avenge that poor bear." He asked the rabbit to lead him to the snake's location, then fled, and the rabbit agreed. They arrived at the snake's house, where the small bear was found, seeking revenge. Sato encouraged himself and shot an arrow that pierced one of the snake's eyes, blinding it, then attempted to confront the snake by launching a second attack aimed at the other eye. However, the snake was not easy at all. It tried to trap Sato, but the latter had prepared himself with a knife, resulting in a severe wound. The snake became helpless, while Sato began to feel poisoned from his wounds. But he didn't waste the opportunity, and immediately used healing magic on himself, again, trying to end the fight. But the snake managed to counter his attack by attempting to finish him off with a tail strike. However, the small bear intervened to defend him, and Sato gathered his strength and attacked with all his fury, until he killed the snake. His magical forces were exhausted, and he could no longer heal himself, so he sat down to rest for a while. Suddenly, the serpent rose again, while Sato felt surrender, and began blaming Rose for everything that had happened, saying, "You were the cause of all this. Nothing like this has ever happened to me before." But suddenly, Rose descended from the sky in a flash, saying, "What's the matter? Why are you so tense? I came here as soon as I could." Then Rose attacked the serpent with all her might, until all its defenses collapsed in a matter of seconds. Sato was astonished and asked her in amazement, "How did you know there was danger, and how did you find me?" Rose smiled and explained, "Do you remember the rabbit that was with you? It's my pet. I sent it to watch over you. As for the serpent, its strength is equivalent to an entire army. You succeeded, my friend, in the test when you managed to stop it at this point." Sato felt somewhat resentful that Rose had offered him death with her own hand, but she calmed things down, saying, "Don't be angry. It's simple." Then she made Sato keep the bear as a pet and took him to the mountaintop. Rose told him, "Be careful, for you are with me in the upcoming war. The demons won't tolerate us any longer." Sato replied, "All right." Elsewhere, a new scene unfolded as Amelia spoke with the Demon King, informing him that the previous attack was insufficient and that humans possessed great power. At the same time, their doctor informed them that the animal they had requested was now ready, and the one that appeared in the form of a snake was the same serpent that had attacked Sato earlier. However, the difference was that the amount of venom in it had weakened exponentially, meaning that in this state, they would win the war without losing a single soldier. On the other hand, Sato was eating the bear meat he had named Blue. Then Rose came and said to him, "We have this bear here, so I must put it to work with us." Sato asked her in surprise, "Put a bear to work? How would it benefit us?" Rose replied, "I won't put it to work. I'll put you to work. Come on, carry the bear immediately and drag it. Imagine yourself on the battlefield with your comrades injured, and you must help them. You need to train and be quick to save your own life." Her words didn't sit entirely well with Sato, but he found no room to object, so he began training with Rose, who arranged a group of soldiers to act as the obstacles he might face. The hours passed, and Sato continued running for 4 consecutive hours without fatigue or boredom, until his body was exhausted and he bent over the ground, unable to move anymore. He sat down to rest a little, then talked with Rose, and afterward, he took his bear and went down to explore the city. There, people began staring in amazement. How can this young man carry a bear and walk with it as if it's a normal thing? What's his story? Meanwhile, Sato seemed like a wronged or crazy person. As time flew by, Sato went with Rose to treat the heroes in case they got injured during their intensive training, preparing for the upcoming battle. At that moment, They met Inokia and 2 others, and together they headed to the training site. Suddenly, Sato sensed someone approaching them at lightning speed. Bandits with deadly intentions emerged to kill them, prompting the team to counterattack. However, Kia used her lightning ability to eliminate the attackers before they could even catch their breath. Then hundreds, no, thousands, of wild boars appeared, attacking them. The little bear tried to save them, but unfortunately, Sato was struck by a sudden aircraft while Inokia was too far away. Both fell into the sea, and Sato lost consciousness. Inokia attempted to revive him, and after a while, he regained consciousness. They found themselves far from their original location. Sato said, "We don't know how to return now. The situation has turned dark, so we must find a place with plants." They then headed to a safe cave to rest, with only the task of finding food remaining. One of them said, "Leave this matter to me, and don't worry." She then went to purify the water with electricity, immediately lit a fire, and prepared the fish. Everyone sat down to eat, and as time passed, their relationship began to develop. As they were sitting, some monkeys appeared with a cute demeanor, but appearances can be deceiving. It turned out these seemingly gentle monkeys were poisonous. As soon as one of the girls grabbed a monkey, it bit her, causing her to be poisoned and lose consciousness within seconds. Sato begins to worry about the girl and quickly drives the monkeys away, starting to treat her. After the girl regains consciousness, the day ends like this, and the companions return to the royal palace. On the way, they pass by the area where the bear family was killed. When Sato arrives at the scene, he shows signs of deep sorrow, as if he had lost dear people. After that, the king asks Rose to return and lead the army once again, but Rose refuses, saying, "Since the last demon attack on us, which lasted a full hour where I lost all my soldiers while remaining helpless to save them, I no longer deserve to lead armies. I hope you can find a replacement for me." The king tries to ease the conversation and tells her, "Let it go. It wasn't entirely your fault, and we wouldn't have succeeded together without you." However, Rose expresses her deep pain when she says, "Even if I forget, my wound will keep reminding me of my helplessness and weakness for not being able to protect them. But Your Majesty, I assure you that things will be different this time, because we have new heroes with us. I have personally witnessed Sato, and I am confident he will be able to heal any wounded during the battle. Sato possesses abilities unlike anyone else in the city, so wait and see for yourself what will happen." The king expresses his happiness with these words, saying, "Well, I will always trust what you say." And thus their conversation concludes on this note. On the other hand, the demons began preparing themselves and their equipment to face the enemy armies, which were accompanied by a famous knight known as the Black Knight, the most powerful figure after the king, that legendary knight who possessed infinite dark powers. As for Amelia's conversation with the Demon King about a matter of great importance, a giant tree had fallen from the sky, destroying the bridge they were working on building. Amelia couldn't comprehend why this trunk had descended, but everyone knew that Rose had mockingly and sarcastically pulled it out before rushing off quickly. Meanwhile, in the city, Sato was delivering a message on Rose's orders and headed to a doctor's private clinic. There, he met the doctor's younger sister, who was immediately recognized as a member of the rescue team, referred to as Rose's apprentice. Her name was Flora. Sato requested to meet her older brother to deliver the message, but she told him, "I'm currently busy treating a patient, so please wait a little and we'll let you in later." At the same time, the doctor was deeply engrossed in treating a young child, and Sato was amazed by the doctor's healing ability, as it seemed astonishingly beyond imagination. The child was healed within mere seconds. Meanwhile, the doctor noticed that Sato and Flora were watching from the door, so he went to talk to them. Sato handed over the letter sent by Rose, and upon opening and reading it, he was shocked in a way he hadn't expected. He immediately closed the letter so no one would notice. Suddenly, a stranger entered, announcing 3 serious injuries requiring immediate treatment. The doctor gave instructions, and the 3 quickly headed to the accident site, where each took responsibility for treating a patient. Sato was extremely tense, as this was the first time he had treated someone other than Inokia, and Ryo encouraged him and gave him some instructions to boost his confidence, so Sato began successfully using his healing spell and treated the patient with ease. After the treatment ended, Sato bid farewell to the doctor and his sister. Then they left the clinic. Before they parted ways, the doctor handed a letter to his sister. As they read its contents, Sato was deeply shocked by what he saw. The letter seemed to carry immense significance regarding the mentioned grades. Meanwhile, Rose was discussing the letter's content with Flora, while Sato headed out to buy fruits from the elderly grandmother. Just then, the grandmother's young granddaughter approached Sato and said, "You're the only one who can act on this matter. Look and see what will happen." Sato stared directly into her eyes, and there lay the shock. He saw the future of the war before his very eyes, witnessing all his friends die because of just one person, the Black Knight. Sato was utterly stunned. The girl then told him, "I've finished my message. Now it's your turn, my teacher. Follow through with what you'll do with the information you have." After that, the girl left him and walked away, leaving Sato bewildered and unable to process what he had seen. His thoughts clashed as he wondered to himself, should I ignore those words or act? Do I tell Rose so she can take precautions? I don't know what to do now. His mind wavered in hesitation before he impulsively chased after the girl to ask for more clarification. Unfortunately, he couldn't catch up. She vanished swiftly from his sight. Her words echoed, "You are the only hope for humanity's survival. We all trust in you," deepening his confusion. After that, they met with the leader of the forces, and Sato inquired about the nationality of the girl he had seen recently. The leader scolded him, saying, "They are called Fair Ones of Humanity, and they are extremely rare, possessing special, extraordinary abilities that allow them to see the future in all its details." Sato asked about them. "Where can I find them?" The girl replied, "The Fair Ones of Humanity live in another world, a world completely different from ours, and they can only be met if a great tragedy occurs. Go home now. I will deal with some matters first, then I will come back to you." She set it aside and went to meet with the king, informing him of what had happened and explaining that this was the intense wrath of the demons, which would soon lead to a strong attack on us. The king thanked Rose for this valuable information and ordered her soldiers to summon the magic heroes, Ichika and Ryo. When they arrived at the place, they gathered with the king, who briefed them on the latest developments, explained the tactics, and provided them with important advice to prepare for the upcoming war. Meanwhile, Sato sat alone, hesitant, and unsure of what to do next. Numerous questions swirled in his mind. Could the girl's words be true? And if they were, did that mean he alone could prevent what had happened? How could that be, when even as a weak healer, he possessed no abilities he understood? And why had she confided in him personally without notifying the other heroes? Thoughts and possibilities multiplied in his mind without resolution. Then Ryo came to his side and said to him, "Today I was with the king, and he told us that war would soon begin, but I feel an unnatural fear. I'm afraid of losing those dearest to me, my friends. No matter the cost, I will always protect you, my friends." At that moment, Ichika also approached him and spoke quietly, telling him that she felt the same fear of war and was unsure if she could fight with the same passion she had when she first entered this world. Sato reassured him, saying, "You are strong, and it is the demons who should fear you," which calmed the reassurance, and a sense of confidence prevailed among them. Although the overall situation remained tense, the day ended like this, and the next day the king gathered everyone and delivered a speech full of instructions. He said, "Exactly 2 years ago we faced the demons and defeated them, but this time things are completely different. Now we are accompanied by 2 new heroes, who make us much stronger than we were last time. So how can we be the strongest? Don't you see the fear on your faces, my soldiers? Fight, show your courage, and do not allow the enemy to humiliate you, no matter how strong they are." The crowds cheered in response to the king's calls, while on the other hand, the rescue team had prepared and gathered in one place to execute the battle plan and arrange their positions. It was decided that the fighting soldiers would advance on the front lines, while the healers, including Sato and Miss Flora, would form the rear ranks to facilitate movement in case any soldier was injured. Meanwhile, the army commander, led by Ichika and Ryo, remained committed to the instructions. In this atmosphere, Sato became alert and said to himself, "I've made my decision. I will change the fate and future that was shown to me. Together with Ryo and Ichika, we will return, and I won't let any of them suffer alone." Then Sato asked about the appearance of demons, and Rose explained to him that they resemble ordinary humans, but with horns on their heads, which grants them powers far beyond human capabilities. It is mentioned that demon leaders possess strength on another level. In short, their energies are terrifying. Sato inquired from Rose, "Are you afraid of the battle?" She confidently replied, "I'm not very afraid, On the contrary, I'm excited to protect my friends, and I will do my best to ensure no harm comes to any of them." These words ignited Rose's enthusiasm, as she recalled her memories and said, "2 years ago, when we were beautiful young people and knew the demons were preparing for something, but we didn't fully understand what it was, or when they would launch their attack. We didn't focus on it back then, so I blame myself, even hitting you because I thought you were listening to all of us." Rose then told them that on that night, she went out with her team into the pitch darkness to monitor the demons, but unfortunately, nothing tangible appeared, forcing her later to ask her team to sleep in preparation for continuing the journey the next day. On the second day, continued their search until they found traces of animal claws, confirming that this area belonged to the demons. This coincided with seeing the demons brutally hunting pigs. The demon itself happened to spot them and began uttering cryptic words to intimidate them. At that moment, Sato was extremely confident in himself and decided to protect everyone, so he swiftly charged forward with the power of the wind. However, the wind's effect was weak against him, and he couldn't evade it, sustaining some injuries. He found himself surrounded by knives carved in various sizes, as the demon loomed over him, attacking and saying, "There's no way you'll come out of this battle alive." But his morale never left him, and the battle shifted between the sides. Rose attacked the demon with all her might, but her attacks were exposed and futile, resulting in injuries to her eyes. She couldn't heal her wounds because the sword used against her was cursed. Rose tried to attack again in anger, but the demon dealt her a powerful blow to her leg, nearly ending her life. At that moment, her assistant intervened with a laugh, sacrificing himself to save her, which deeply saddened Rose. She held herself together and began apologizing to him, unable to believe that all of this had happened because of her recklessness. The devil smiled mockingly, saying, "I was enjoying fighting you, but you seemed too weak." As the end approached, the battle intensified. Suddenly, Rose charged forward in great anger, wielding the sword, and struck a powerful blow until she lifted the sword to bring it down from above the devil's head, causing him to fall to the ground, declaring the end of his battle. As soon as it was over, Rose returned to the king, pleading, "Relieve me of knighthood. I do not deserve to lead the army after what happened." Then she left him and walked away, sinking into deep sorrow. She did not speak to anyone for over a month, accompanied only by grief and melancholy. Later on, one of her friends came to check on her and asked her to return to lead the army once more, but she refused vehemently. She sat alone, blaming herself for everything that had happened. Meanwhile, some soldiers who had lost their lives came to her and said, "You are not at fault, for we forgive you and still love you, because we sacrificed our lives for you. But as long as you are alive, you must avenge us." The commander told herself, "Enough of this talk. Get up and resist quickly." At that moment, the girl began to feel excitement again, so she decided to return to lead the armies and seek revenge for the killing of her comrades. From that day on, she began training soldiers at the highest level. As the days passed, Sato was extremely puzzled and wondered, "You told me you would train stronger soldiers, so how will I benefit from you since I am weak and lack the ability to be of use to you?" The girl replied firmly to him, "Don't worry, my friend. You are strong and mighty. If you weren't strong, you wouldn't have been able to endure these grueling trainings. Focus on your training until the time of battle comes, and we emerge victorious. Also, I must kill someone no matter the cost. It seems old scores are waiting to be settled." And so the day ended like this. The next morning, Sato woke up anxiously, thinking about what might happen in the upcoming battle. Try to make him laugh and ease his tension, but Sato remained silent. Ryo entered and said to them, "Words are not enough. Let's go and train, for the enemy army is getting closer." At the mountain peak, Ryo and Inokia gathered with Sato to watch the approaching demons. But suddenly, the demons disappeared from their sight, only to later realize that they had set a trap using illusion magic, making them believe the enemy was coming from a different direction. The heroes quickly grasped the situation and descended to fight. Sato was standing with Rose, giving additional instructions to the soldiers, when suddenly 2 wounded soldiers entered. Sato immediately began treating them. While attending to one of them, he overheard a conversation suggesting that a serpent was breaking through their ranks and killing relentlessly. He wondered, could this be the same serpent that Rose had killed before? But Rose made it clear to him that her role was to be a healer, not just a fighter, and that he should leave the task of combat to the leaders while focusing on treating the wounded, so as not to waver in his resolve. The scene shifted to the battlefield, where the Black Knight advanced with confident strides, unwilling to attack anyone else. He scrutinized the human soldiers, marveling at their weakness as he searched for a strong opponent to prove his strength. While plotting to ambush a soldier from behind, he laughed mockingly, saying, "You are all a bunch of weaklings. I am looking for the strong one who can relieve me of the boredom of this battle." The Black Knight appeared to be in a state of genuine madness. Rose and Sato later gathered with their team. As Rose began discussing the Black Knight and his power with them, Sato recalled previous visions and started to believe Rose's words. The Black Knight was the most dangerous opponent among them, and he had to be eliminated as quickly as possible. The soldiers divided themselves. Decisions were made for the combat soldiers to advance in the front lines, while healers like Sato and Miss Flora took the rear lines to provide quick medical support for injuries. The army leaders issued their orders firmly. As Sato advanced with Rose giving additional instructions, the Black Knight burst in with a few warriors, while the human soldiers began to revolt and fight. However, the Black Knight seemed unable to respond to them, laughing mockingly at their weakness, saying, "I'm looking for someone who is truly strong, not weaklings like you." Despite Ryo's attempts and Inokia's attacks using light magic and swords, their strikes were reflected, and neither could deal the necessary damage to him. The girl swiftly advanced toward the Black Knight, attacking from behind with a single unexpected strike that sent him tumbling to the ground, unable to move. A fatal blow followed, robbing him of his ability to speak the logic of reflection, which meant his defeat just before he could counter the attack. As Ryo moved forward to finish him off, a mocking laugh came from the Black Knight, who said, "I was just joking with you, didn't you believe the story?" At that moment, the battle intensified. The Black Knight received consecutive blows from Ryo and Inokia, while the girl struck him with her sword until he fell to the ground. With his surrender, it became clear that he could no longer utter the word of reflection, giving the heroes a chance for revenge. Driven by his anger, Sato stepped forward, calling out to the Black Knight saying, "Come at me. Do you think you can kill my friends while I'm here? I'll be the one to finish you off now." With this escalation, feelings of anger and determination ignited in the hearts of the heroes, and thus the battle of revenge began. The forces surged against the Black Knight in an attempt to change fate and save their friends. With a single strike, he sent the knight flying far away. In that moment, the boy took advantage of the situation and rushed to check on his companions. Fortunately, they were still alive. He quickly treated them, and they regained their energy. At that time, the armor worn by the Black Knight shattered, and the extremely angry girl emerged from within, appearing as if she was about to annihilate them. Sato's companions asked her, "What should we do now?" He replied, "We flee." Sato picked up the children and dashed at full speed while the Black Knight tried unsuccessfully to stop him. Sato succeeded in bringing them to safety, then returned alone to attack the knight. The knight said to him, "You've come to me, so come on." Sato attacked with all his might, delivering numerous rapid strikes. Suddenly, Sato blocked most of his attacks, while the remaining strikes shattered another part of the girl's armor. At that moment, the girl exploded with anger and attacked without thinking, but Sato outmaneuvered her with his skill. Inokia watched what happened with astonishment and admiration for Sato's strength. Meanwhile, Ryo woke up and saw Sato fighting alone, standing firm with all his courage, resisting their attacks. In one of his strikes, his weapon pierced his own hand, but he used his power to heal himself, and then returned to extend his assault with strikes left and right. Sato would not falter before them. He exerted his utmost strength, causing thick smoke to surround them, and reappeared once more to amplify his magic to the fullest extent and continue his attack. Suddenly, the girl flew out of his sight, as she no longer understood anything. Sato seized this opportunity and attacked the girl with intense aggression, but she suddenly revealed her demonic Hyalta and created a fierce whirlwind in the area, pushing her away from him. The girl's sword doubled in size, and after Sato confirmed Ryo's safety and regained his confidence, he prepared for a mighty attack. Sato advanced toward the girl with courage, and the knight awaited him with anger. They foolishly exchanged attacks, each striking the other from all directions, their strength evenly matched. Both exerted their utmost effort in the struggle for their people. Sato's rage grew, increasing his power more and more until he succeeded in breaching her defense and reached her to strike with all his might. Right, left, and blows from every direction without mercy. He attacked her, utilizing his full strength, and in the end, he bravely defeated her. When the demons saw that their strongest knight had been defeated, they withdrew and quickly dragged themselves away from the battlefield, muttering, "Know your limits, cowards." Sato then turned to tend to the wounded, and they all thanked him for what he had done. At the same time, the heroes wanted to eliminate the giant serpent that threatened the soldiers' safety. Sato did not wish to continue fighting with them, but Rose spoke to him saying, "Tell me how you managed all this. Let the heroes handle the serpent." The boy understood her meaning and called them, then went with Rose to the Cursed Lands. News of the Black Knight's defeat and capture as a prisoner of war reached the ears of the demons, but Emilia couldn't believe what she heard. She asked the strongest man among their soldiers if it was Rose who had done it, to which he replied, "No, it was a boy whose healing abilities far surpass Rose's. His power is limitless." The girl trembled upon hearing this and decided to withdraw her troops to avoid further losses, saying, "Know this, you're facing one side. The demons know no bounds and remain arrogant." On the other hand, the heroes defeated the serpent, and Rose thanked and praised Sato for his tremendous efforts in the battle. At that moment, the boy cried and said, "I thought I was useless to you and your guidance, especially the words you once told me, 'Be a leader, for history does not remember soldiers.' Those words changed my life." He continued to weep for a while until exhaustion overcame him. The boy was taken home, and the next morning the king rewarded the heroes and finally acknowledged Sato as a hero. At that moment, the boy laughed while Rose hit him, saying, "Have some self-respect, you're in front of the king of the country." Then he turned to Bulo and told him, "You, of course, didn't move much from your spot. It's like you're eating without moving, and even now you look like a watermelon stuck in place. I should make you run a little." The boy was at the peak of happiness, but then one of Rose's followers came to inform him that the king wanted to see him now. Indeed, the boy set off, and during his journey, he found everyone gathering around him to thank him for what he had done for them, even presenting him with gifts in return for saving them. The boy arrived at the kingdom and met the king, saying, "I want you to interrogate the knight we captured and extract all the information about the demons from her, as I feel her appearance suggests she's being forced into what she's doing." The king replied, "It's true that she's providing information easily, but so far we haven't gained anything from her. And don't worry, the girl asked to see you herself." The boy said, "All right," and immediately set off with Aniokia towards her. The girl suggested to him, "I wanted to see you. I wanted to see the person who defeated me." To which he replied, "I know you're suffering and in pain from the depths of your heart, so let me help you and understand why you're doing all this." At first, the girl was hesitant to speak, but Sato holds her, removes her armor, and treats her wounds, so the girl returns to her normal self after being hesitant to speak. Then, he calls Rose and enters her room, saying to her, "You have two choices. You must choose what suits you. Either be a prisoner and remain in the cell until death, or follow me and pledge allegiance to the human armies. Of course, the choice is yours." The girl chooses the second option, and afterward, Rose brings her home and informs her that she must train with Sato every day. Later, Rostad is informed that she will participate in an exploratory mission with the army today, and on her way, she will pass through the remaining kingdoms and urge them to prepare for the upcoming battle. The young man says to her, "All right," then leaves. But on his way, he meets Aniokia, who turns out to have been accompanying him by coincidence. Along the way, he also meets the little girl who had previously shown him the future, and she says to him, "I want you to repay the favor you did for me." The young man rejoices upon seeing her and says, "Ask for anything you wish, O maiden, for you are the one who saved the world, not I. If you desire a star from the sky, I shall bring it to you." She replies, "No, I don't need a star or anything. Only my mother is sick and needs urgent treatment. I want you to come and heal her with your abilities." The young man says, "Very well, but on the condition that I learn more about your world, O maiden." She begins to tell stories about the world of monsters and says to him, "It seems you need my company. I'll take you on a tour." The young man then rejoices and says to her, "All right." And here ends the first episode of our anime. If you liked it, don't forget to like and subscribe, and let the number of likes for this video reach more than 2,000 so I can continue uploading episodes. Goodbye.